And we are live. It is Sunday, June the 14th, 2020. It's the Sunday Night Hang. I'm Ben Coombs, and tonight I'm hanging with my good friend and brother from another mother, Sean Silas himself, folks.
What's up,
Give it
everybody?
up. Give it up.
How you doing, everyone? Thank you, Ben, for having me on. It's always a pleasure.
Of course. You know, it was funny when I hit you up the other day. It was literally I was thinking about us hanging out at NAMM a few months. You know, it still seems like a few months ago because we've been on pause. And I was like, what's Sean up to? And then you released the video this morning too, and I was like, all right, well that fills me in. So this is awesome. You know, following each other on social media. So I thought, well, let's let more folks know what's up with Sean Silas.
Thank you. Just trying to stay busy, and I got the stuff going on, with the album that I've been working with for almost a year. I remember when it was kind of weird, Ben, when it all started, because I got the Kemper with my buddy Alan, and we bought our Kempers at the same time. So he's a bass player, and we wanted to do some projects together, right? So it made it really, really convenient for us to have these units. They're so versatile with all these different styles of music that we wanted to do. And that was a year, I think it was Friday, a year. And it's a trip how fast time flies by, and that's when I started the album. Actually, I started it like that next day, and I was so inspired. So I wrote like 4 songs, like back to back, 7 hours of writing,
Sure.
And that's how when things are cool, right? Because they come out like that when you're inspired and
exactly, and take advantage of it.
Yeah. And so I was gonna start with the 4 or 5 songs, and then I got my friend Bob Watson to sing on some of the stuff, and he was like, "That's cool. If you want, we could just keep going, and if you need help with anything, like I'm there for you." And I'm not really that much of a singer. I mean, I could do backups and stuff, but as far as coming up with lyrics and all that, that's a whole nother.
Sure.
So with him, jumping on board, I got even more inspired, because I'm like, oh, cool, I have a vocalist now, and he's totally metal. So it was like, we could totally write some really cool, 80s stuff, because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make this album, a concept album, for my life as far as playing guitar, and that started in 80, and I was already into Kiss, and Ace Frehley. And then when Randy Rhoads came around, of course, I told you the story about that, it opened up a whole nother thing. So I'm pretty much, this album is more like a themed out, concept album. With all this being said and done, it started out being, first it started out being like a metal thing. And then I was telling Bob, I was like, you know what, it'd be cool for me to write something before the metal thing. And he's like, oh yeah, what's up? And I was like, I'm going to do something that's different as far as me playing guitar. And I never played clean, like pop stuff.
Right.
So as far as like the disco thing. So that's when I came up with the Moon and Back, which I know you've seen that video. I released that really early because it was done. I kind of wanted to,
sure.
But that's going to be, of course, on the album. But that's song number 3, because it starts out with Vapor, which is full blown Tony McAlpine, Paul Gilbert, Steve Vai.
That it is
double bass, and then it goes into Real Love, which is a song that I wrote for my fiance, and she totally like inspired me on that. So I haven't shared that yet, but that's going to be like a surprise track on there, which is song number 2. And then I go into song number 3, which is I'm Clowning Around. And that's like that's like crazy. Like Marty Friedman, Jason Becker, crazy stuff, you know.
Right.
And then after that song, because it's real crazy, then it goes into the Moon and Back, which is like the disco,
beautiful,
lounging thing.
Yeah.
You know, and with that song, I asked Bob if he could sing on that, and he was like, "What, really?" I'm like, "Yeah, just mess around with it. You know, don't be serious. Just none of the high pitched screaming stuff. Just like pretend we're like in Las Vegas and we're just lounging in it's 1978, you know."
Right.
Kind of. So he's like, "All right, cool." Then he did this cool lounging voice, and then it starts to build up because it's like you're like in this time machine, and you take this time machine like Back to the Future into the future, which is 2010, and that's when I'm doing all the shredding, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go back from there to back to the early 70s, and it goes back into the funky thing. So so then it goes from that, and then number 5, I believe on number 5, it does the like the Linkin Park era. We were so into Linkin Park, that new metal Korn,
Sure,
which is 2000 and something, 2001. And then it goes into Fearflex, which is number 6. I should have had the songs in front of me because I probably skipped 1 or 2. So much stuff going on.
I was just thinking we should probably give some shout outs here. We got upwards of 40 people in here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, first one, we got returner here, Southern Metalhead, formerly known as SDMF, in the house.
Cool.
Weedy Guitar Studio, Terry's GG&G, Randy Crooks, Jack Collins, Peter DeBad, Milt T, Martin Lemaire. Let's see, Brendan B. Squared, aka Butt Cheeks, my cousin Doug, down and back with Corn Doug. What's up, Doc? Brack Stubblefield, JP Page 2, Wilma Nile Bond, Charles 75N, BC Rich 581, Mark Taft. So we got both the Taft boys in here. Right, Hip Metal Works is in here. Brian Landreth. Man, we got all kinds. Rick Hefner, JJ's House of Jams, Brother James in the house.
Right on.
Adam D. I think I saw my sister Amanda in here.
Hey.
Nice. Noise with Namis. Janice Lala. Yeah, we all kinds of people in here.
Yes, that's awesome. Thank you, everybody.
LPD Pedals. Good to see Lawrence. Eric C.
Right on.
Robot Master Switch. Wow, yeah. We do have quite the crowd in here.
Nice. Thank you, everybody. Excuse me.
Tom Reno's in here. Good to see you, Tom.
Oh, what's up, Tom?
Nice.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Vance Hicks, Mickey Studelmeyer. Yeah, you guys, any questions for either of us? Ask away.
Yes.
I was delaying the shout outs because we start talking about the album, and I'm like, yes, go for it. Because that shows this is the level of excitement that Sean's been dealing with when he's not having to do all these other little projects. Like, if you read the video description, I'm just like, he does this and this and this and this and this and this. Oh, and by the way, he's a hell of a nice guy too.
Oh, thank you, brother. Man, thank you. I love you for that, man. Yeah, I got so much going on. But you know what's the trip is that from this whole lockdown thing, or whatever you want to call it, from the virus thing, I was in our condo for a good 4 weeks, and I had all this time on my hands, you know, and so I had to get the video game thing like out of my system, of course.
Yep.
And of course, I'm taking care of everything else, you know, my son and stuff. And I'm like, well, you know, this is a good time for me to work on the album and work on some other things, some videos and drones and photography and stuff. And I finally got that stuff out of the way, you know, and I was starting to get bored actually after 2 months. So I got the call to go back to work finally, and you know, and I got to do the album thing too. So it's kind of a catch-22.
Nice. Yeah, so folks, if you want to see some teasers for this album that we're talking about, if you go to Sean's YouTube channel, we got some great stuff, including you did a state of the album address that you released earlier today, talking about that as much, what you've been up to, and then you just melted my face for the second half of the video. You're like, yeah, this is what I do for a warm-up, and I'm just like, Damn, I always forget, dude. And then every time I hear you play, it's like hearing you for the first time, and I'm like, yes, just yes.
Thanks, man. Thank you. I'm just a chameleon, I guess, with music. I just, when it's time for me to play the guitar, I have to let out my wings because I was brought up in metal, and I love playing fast and all that stuff. And then, of course, playing with other people and bands and stuff, I had to learn how to take it easy and slow down a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
And but there's times I just need to just go for it just to get my mind off things, and basically that's what I was doing when I made the video, because I was gonna actually write like another song because I was inspired, and I'm like, I need to promote this album because I'm right there, I got my friend on Daniel, he's working on vocals, and Jay Smith is working on drums, right now, and once I get that, then I could pretty much finish it. Oh, and I also got my friend Bob again to do one more song.
Right.
So, but like we're going back and forth because he has a project that he's doing too, and he goes, dude,
Sure.
can you do this guitar for me? And he'll send the files over, and I'll track over that for him.
Nice.
So,
and are you doing anything with the Hour 11 boys right now? Like, I know gigging and everything's on hold, but talking to those guys at all?
oh yeah, it's crazy, Ben. It's like, when we got the band back together, we had like maybe 4 or 5 rehearsals, all excited, ready to do it, and then we got a show booked in Santa Ana, to do a show in April, late April, I think it was.
Right.
And yeah, that's right, because March was when all this crap happened, and then we had like one more rehearsal, which was I think early March, and we're like, okay, well, let's see what's going to happen, if they're going to start shutting things down, or are we just going to just have rehearsal and then get ready for the show. And things actually got canceled like maybe like early April,
Right.
and so that bummed us out because we were really excited to play together again. But yeah, like we're still going to do it. Marcus Santos, he's the bass player.
Right.
Him and his wife Shelly are moving to Maui, and that's locked in. So there's no turning back on that. So, which we already knew that, so we're going to be flying back and forth if there's any gigs that happen like in that way, which I would love to go there. I've never been there.
Sure.
And he'll fly out here, if we have any shows. So yep, it's gonna happen, and like I love that band, that's our baby,
Right. And I was lucky enough that when I ran into you at NAMM,
yeah,
everybody was kind of there, so I got to meet the guys, and we kind of were touching on that, and I was like, oh, all right, well, if there is anything you guys want to promote, come on the channel type thing, and then everything shut down, and it's like you don't even think about that right now. So
yeah, it's weird, we have a group chat that there's times that somebody will say, hey, just checking in to make sure everybody's okay, which is perfect. That's how we've always been.
Sure. JJ says he'll be at the next Hour 11 show.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm excited to play that stuff again. I love it. It's this discipline for me because it's all about the vocals in that song until I can do my thing, of course. But
sure. Aaron Cram is asking, is Canada shut down? We were, and we are now, like the US, we're reopening one stage at a time, larger cities being delayed more than the smaller towns too. So, and hello to Bent Tom. I see you jumped in here. Brad Miller as well. Good to see you, gents.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Yeah, it's this whole shutdown thing. It's really, I really feel from my friends that play like in cover bands that are really hardcore about that.
Yeah,
because that's their livelihood. That's how they make their money. And So I really hope that I don't care if they play in a bubble or something, you got to make money, so.
Exactly. Yeah, it's pretty tough. I was actually looking at just putting a new project together right when the shutdown started. And I was just like, yeah, well, okay. Well, no point now or anytime soon. So,
yeah. So I guess it's time for us to write music at home, and then we can send files back and forth. Like if you want us to do something,
yeah,
you could do something. I would love to do anything with you, man. It could be any style or anything.
For sure. Yes. Once I get into starting to lay down stuff, because I have been doing some writing, definitely.
Cool.
I can think of a couple of things. I'd be like, can you just sprinkle some goodness on this? And you'd be like, sure.
I'll just be in the background, and or it could be a little chink chink chink. It doesn't have to be.
Nice. Hey, Jamal, good to see you. We got Guitar Man 45 in here. Nice.
Cool. Right on.
Nice. Yeah. Any questions for either of us? Ask away, folks. Fruitcake Tony's in the house. Good to see you.
What's up?
He was on with Johnny Bean yesterday.
Oh, I missed it. I totally missed it. And I missed that one with Johnny. Pete was on there.
Right.
What day was that? Thursday?
Was it?
Was it Thursday? Yeah, I get my days mixed up.
I'm drawing a blank too. I blame lifestyle, so that's my excuse.
Me staying up all night, dude. That's another thing. Staying up. I haven't stayed up like this in the last 2 months since the early '80s, like after high school.
Sure.
Just don't have anything to do, but of course play guitar. But
Exactly. Ben Tom says, can a 60 frame per second camera keep up with Sean's picking hand? I think not.
Oh, speaking of this camera, I know this camera is old school. I bought this camera like in 2009. So it's super, like, I can do all this crazy stuff like this. So I will invest in another camera. I wasn't gonna use my phone, but I was like, oh my gosh, I want to look at my phone. That's all I do is look at my phone.
I know the feeling. Hey, Metalhead Hippie, Half Ace is here. Robot Master Switch. Nice.
Cool.
Good crowd here. So tell me, this Sully guitar that you seem to not be able to put down, how sweet are those things? Man,
I've wanted one for at least for 2 or 3 years, probably 2 years. And I was talking to John about it, online on Facebook, and I seen he was coming out with some. And when I went to the NAMM show just recently, I went to his booth, and it was great to finally meet him in person, and I go, man, I would love to get one of your guitars. He goes, just let me know anytime. So everything just lined up perfectly, and I was able to get this guitar, and it's just. I mean, I play a lot of guitars, and I love all my guitars. I love every one that I have here. I mean, I could pick one, my Les Paul, my Jacksons, my Deans, and my Fender, and it's just certain times,
Sure.
I like to do certain things at certain times, and John's guitar, it reminds me of my BC Rich, of my Ironbird that I had back in the day. And it's not, it's short, it's longer scale, I believe, because I had a problem with my Ironbird when I would do solos down there. My fingers are so fat, they would kind of get bunched up in there.
Sure.
And but I mean, when there's time for me to go down there to do a solo, I would do a get in and get out, kind of thing. So when I got the Sully, I played it at the NAMM show, and I loved the way how it felt, but it felt like my Ironbird for some reason,
Sure.
So I never got that out of my head. And then when I finally just added the blue, I think something sparked it to where I went to his website or something, and then it took me to the reverb page, and I saw that color and I saw that flame. I was like,
Right.
I don't care. I already know how it plays. I mean, it should be close to what I played at the NAMM show.
Right.
You know, so I just jumped in there, and you know.
Plus, if it did need a bit of a tweak, I'm pretty sure you could handle that yourself. You know.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Yeah, you know, and I have this thing too where I'll still tweak on it, even though when it's been tweaked on before, and I have to admit, not. I mean, how can I say this? John's way of setting up and the way how he does his guitars is like the way how I would set my guitars up. Right. So when I pulled the guitar out of the case, and by the way, the case is amazing. I thought it was a hard case, but it's a soft case. I didn't pay attention to all of the details on it. You know, I just wanted the guitar, of course. So I didn't think about the case.
Sure.
Yeah, when I pulled out of the case, dude, it was just amazing. It was already low action, and I was like, I'm gonna see how low this thing could go. So I slammed it, dude, and it's like, I mean, it's amazing. He did amazing fret job on it. He it's perfect, And that's all I can say. It's just, I mean,
yeah,
you know how it is.
Yeah, I was hanging out in that area of the NAMM floor a fair amount, and I saw Adam Reaver over at the Sully booth, of course, and he's like, Ben, I'm like, yeah, try this. I was like, damn. And he's like, yeah, and then of course he flips it around, and he's showing, yeah, we're doing some stuff here, and I'm like, oh yeah, and then he leans over and he tells me the price point. I'm like, you're kidding me. Yep. Like that. Folks, check out Sully Guitars. That's all I'm saying. And I believe Adam's actually selling Sully through the FU-Tone site now as well.
Yes, actually, I didn't. I tried to be a little bit more clear on that guitar. It has the FU-Tone upgrades on it, the bridge, and it has like the trim stop on the back behind it, which I was gonna turn the guitar around and show that, but I was so caught up in it, I forgot to do it. So, nice. But yeah, it's solid, man. When you see the video, I dive bomb it. I'm really just tweaking on it, and it's solid. I mean, I played Floyd's my whole life. I've been a Kaler fan, like in the 80s, and I was actually playing Kaler for a while until 95 or 96 when I got the WRC guitar, the shell one.
Right.
And that has a Kaler, but it's modeled after the Floyd Rose, the license.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And it's an amazing bridge. But I didn't get into the actual Floyd Roses until I started to work at Fender in Jackson.
Sure.
Sure. So, but yeah, when
give out some more shout outs here. We got John BL 5150 joining us, the lovely Sandra Porkney, who thanks Sandra for having me on her show last night. We've got Mars Man in the chat. What's up, Doc was saying, he says, since I've acquired a few pedals, I'm looking for a decent amp, affordable as a pedal platform. Suggestions on the cheap for bedroom and possibly future garage jams.
Oh, nice.
I would say...
you got it now.
If you want to go really more brighter, maybe a Vox AC10 or possibly a Fender Blues Junior. Just off the top of my head.
I've been wanting to get one of those forever. The Blues Junior.
They are sweet. Oh, dang. Boner Jams coming in like a champ.
What's up, my kid?
It's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's Boner Jams. What's going on to all my erections out there? Yes, those who love the tight fade and flat top are now my erections. Just coin that. Well, there we are.
There you go, man. There's a quote for today, or the question for today.
Nobody enters the live chat like Boner Jams.
That's awesome. Thank you, Boner. Oh, that's
and right above that, Robbie Johnson. Hello, welcome.
What's up?
He says, hey, Sean, do you know Ron Dalton? He has some vids for Sully.
That name sounds so familiar. Oh my gosh.
I see we got Ike from Flipside Music in the house, one of the channel sponsors. Good to see you, Ike.
Cool.
I caught the replay of his live show from yesterday.
Cool. I'll have to check
Southern
that out.
Metalhead is back. He's like, hey, it's SDMF. Yes, I called you out earlier in the show, which is awesome. Good to see you. Welcome back, buddy. And Ike was showing off his modded Tele Deluxe he just finished up, where he's got my signature set of P90s in it, the Boa Constrictor set.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Nice.
Man, I just love your backdrop. Well, not your backdrop, like it's like the news or anything.
Studio A, but spelled EH, of course. Studio A.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Place to keep all my junk and make YouTube videos and have fun.
That's cool.
All good, Southern Metalhead. And I did believe I saw someone else in the chat, Susan D, new name in the chat.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. That's my fiance.
Ah.
Yes,
I got to meet her at NAMM.
Yes, you made it.
Yes. And I was going to ask, do you have the chat open on your end?
No, I'm afraid to do that.
Actually, right on the right-hand side in StreamYard here, you should see it'll have private chat and comments. And you can just toggle it, and that should bring up all the comments for you.
Oh, gotcha. Right on. I can see it now. See what everyone's.
Yay. I could have mentioned that before we went live, but again, I blame lifestyle.
It's all
I may have gotten into the wine before we started, so.
I was gonna hit like a cooler or something, a little light stuff, but I was like, I just woke up, so I'm good right now.
Nice. Ike says Sean has some cool gear in the background.
Thank you.
Check out the Kemper, among other things.
Yes. I have the Kemper there, and I have a couple guitars and my bass back there. If you guys want to see like any of the guitars, I can pull them out of cases, and like this room is so small, I can't have them all out, so I have to go into the other room to grab it. So, but yeah,
I know that feeling. Let's see. Bent Tom asks, what non-guitar musicians are Sean listening to right now?
Wow. Thank you, Bent Tom. Well, I'm getting ready to do a dance trance album, and I've always been into that style of music from like the mid '90s ish. So I'm a lot into Paul Van Dyke, Taizu. There's so many other ones that I'm into, but yeah, I'm into everything, but I've always wanted to do like a dance trance album that's not that guitar and like shredding stuff, but of course I'll probably do some clean guitar in there, of course.
Nice.
Gotta play a little bit. Yeah.
Sure. Welcome. Hello, Christopher. New name in the chat as well. Thanks for joining us. And welcome back, Nikki. She says, oh my, I've been up for 24 hours. Susie's killing me. Susie and Nikki hang out together all the time.
Cool. Yeah, being up late.
I'm going to guess she's younger than us.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I was up for 24 hours straight.
When I used to work in the movie industry, I used to be up like that. I was talking to my friend Bob that's doing the vocals on the record there. He's the one that got me into special effects. So I used to do a lot of work with him, and I still do right now. That's my boss right now. And we used to stay up 24 hours doing like Halloween haunt stuff for Knott's Berry Farm and on little small gigs on the side, holding the hair dryer, trying to get the stuff to cure. And it has to be delivered like that 10 hours later or 4 hours
right.
later. So yeah, but I can't do that now. I have to cut it off by 10 hours.
I hear you.
Do something else.
Michael Easter asks, question for Sean. Has your personal aesthetic for harmony changed over the years?
I'm trying to, bear with me because I just woke up. I'm trying to understand the question. Where was it?
It's a little bit back there. Michael Easter asked.
Okay. Because I was thinking about the guitars, the harmony guitars. For some reason, that popped in my head.
I don't. Yeah, because I'm thinking, well, there's guitar harmonies.
Yeah.
Famously by like an Iron Maiden run. And then there's vocal harmonies, which I've always been a fan of. Like, my dad told me if I want to learn how to sing, listen to the Beach Boys.
Oh, there's a couple of questions about the riot thing, which we could talk about that too. Oh, you guys are just going off here. I'm sorry, you guys.
Hey, and hello, Susie. She made it back as well. Nice to see you.
Hey. Thank you, babe.
I did. Yeah, wow. They're just flying in here. I saw, Ike from Flipside was asking where you're based out of and how was the scene there?
Yes, I'm based out of Southern California, like in the IE, which is Riverside, San Bernardino, Mo Valley, area, which is 50 miles west of LA. And
you mean 50 miles east?
Yes, I'm sorry.
I was saying 50 miles west. That might be a little wet.
Yes, you're right. Thank you. I'm like, I have to jump in my airplane, my friends' airplanes that fly, or my simulators to get.
I live on a yacht in international waters.
That's funny. Thank you, Ben. Thank you. Yeah, they're like, does it on a yacht or what? No, east of LA. And the scene in Riverside was awesome. I mean, when like from the early 80s all the way up probably to the late 80s for 10 years, it was, I mean, like I seen Rat just locally, just right up the street.
Nice.
Poison and Black Oak, Arkansas, and like the list and all. I mean, like the local bands are, I mean, they were awesome. My friend played in a band called Manic Panic. The bass player is the bassist for Everclear.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Freddie. And he just lived right up the street from where my parents lived, not too far from him. And I used to ride my bike over to his place to watch them practice. And I was probably about 14, 15. And that's when I first met my friend Eddie that played guitar in the band, and Freddie, Perry. Mm-hmm. And it was just like the scene was awesome, dude. I mean, like if you ever watched the documentaries on the whole LA thing, that stuff was real. I mean, I was sheltered in a way, I mean, on some things. That's a whole other story as far as the whole Christianity thing. I played in a Christian band at the time. So, but I would get friends call me up. They're like, let's go see Motley Crue. Let's go see Rat, and Poison, on not Black Oak, Alcatraz. I seen them and Steve.
I am so jealous.
I was lucky because my friend was a bouncer, and he worked at this theater, and he calls me up. He's like, "Hey, Sean, you want to come down to see Alcatraz?" I'm like, "Alcatraz? Is that the one that Malmsteen is playing in?" He goes, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "All right, cool." So I go there, and I was there during sound check, and there was this guy up there playing guitar, and it didn't look like Malmsteen. It looked like some tech that was testing out the guitars. He was shredding. They were checking out some new effect that he got, some rack effect, and I'm like, "Who is this guy? He got to be a tech." So, anyways, when the show started, the guy comes out on stage, and it was Steve Vai.
Wow.
People were throwing stuff.
Right.
And my friend that was a bouncer, they were looking at people, trying to get people out of there. And Steve got through, I would say the first two songs I mean, the first song they were throwing stuff, but then after the second and a half to going to the third, people were like, "Wow," and I was like, "Wow," you know. And
it's like, it's not bad. Yeah, okay.
Exactly, that's exactly what happened, you know.
Crazy.
And,
Want to welcome. We got the man, the myth, the legend himself, Johnny Bean, in the house.
Johnny, what's up?
Good to see you, man.
Paul
Paul Ewing from Stompbox Steels. Good to see you, Paul.
Cool.
Nice. Blackjack Guitar Nut. We've got all kinds of people in here tonight. I saw Boner James was asking, who is your favorite guitarist and who do you think is the most overrated?
Wow. Well, as far as, overrated, I can't think of any. As far as me as a guitar player,
Yeah, that one's a little hard.
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's always
it's art, in one way. So different tastes.
Yeah,
there'd be someone you may not care for, but who I guess that would be considered overrated in a sense because you're like, I don't know, I don't like the guy. I don't understand why he's so popular.
Yeah, this is crazy. I'll keep this short because we have so many questions in here. I'm like tripping out on that. I remember when I first heard Keith Richards from Rolling Stones, and everyone, my friends in high school, they were like, they were all into that, and I was like, maybe that's the only time I felt that I would feel that way. But then when I started playing guitar and learning about it, I'm like, that guy's a genius. It's all about how you look at music. I don't think I would look at any guitar player as being overrated.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't say Malmsteen. I like Malmsteen. I mean back. Okay, I won't go there because I can't really.
How about a favorite?
My favorite is actually. Can we say top 5?
Sure.
Okay, the first one is of course I would say it's Ace Frehley because he was the first one that I learned.
You have my approval on that one, that's for sure.
Okay.
Same here.
Cool. And the second one is Rhodes because he was the second guy. And then Brad Gillis. When I seen him fill in for Randy after Randy passed away, I was blown away by that.
Right.
And then Steve Vai. Oh my gosh. And there's a bunch of them for number 5, like Tony McAlpine, Paul Gilbert, Jason Becker, Marty Friedman.
I was waiting for Becker.
So, but that's solid music though. There's other guitar players I like.
Yeah. And for number 5, I'm going to put an entire genre.
Yeah. That's a pretty good question too.
Nice. Yeah, we got quite the crowd in here.
Yeah, someone asked about the Riot stuff. I don't mind talking about Riot. I still love the guy.
Give a shout out Brian from Oregon's in here. I know he's lurking as well, so shout out Brian from Oregon. Yes, so Riot.
Yeah, I did the last tour with them from the last gig, the last tour. It was a 9-date thing, and I just felt that I just needed to be more at home because I have a 6-year-old son, and the whole touring life, like touring like that. I mean, it's great for people that do that for a living. If I was much younger and I didn't have a little family, then I would probably would go for it more. But it was good, so I learned a lot from it, and so I just decided to just go ahead and just focus on my album, focus on my son. Well, my son and my album. I don't want to get it twisted, and then just do it that way. They just released the single, which is Rise, and that was the last studio album that I did with them, and it was great to hear that song, play my guitar. That's when I did All Kemper on that album, going through the Dr. Jekyll cabinet.
Right. I know you had a killer tone going on.
Thank you. Yeah, that you know, I played a 5153, the 50 watt. I mean, that was all about Riot. That was like the Riot sound, guitar wise, going through the G major 2 for effects with all that reverb and ambient thing.
Sure.
And then I got the carbon copy pedal, and that was on Lock 11. You hear like the U2 thing, which on the video I talk about the Edge. That was
sure
the thing that I wrote for him. Well, like he inspired me back in the 80s. So
we have a guitar request. Southern Metalhead says, Sean, where's that beautiful Gibson Les Paul Gold Top?
Oh, it's in the case. If you guys want to see it, I'll bring it out. That thing, I love the smell of that thing. I don't know if you guys what I'm talking about.
Les Pauls have a smell.
Yes, it's like a new car smell for guitars. And I love playing that thing. I play that on Fearflex, which is...
It looks like Lawrence from LPD Pedal says, okay, back to building. Have at it, good sir. Keep building
cool.
that amazing tone. I'll talk to you tomorrow, my friend.
Take care, man. Yes.
But yes, the Gibson smell.
Yes, the Gibson smell. That thing, I had it like out of the case for about a month because I like to smell that much. Like in our little guest room here. I was like, man. And then I would play it, and it's super smooth and fast. And I upgraded I took out the bridge pickup and I got the bare knuckle pickup in that. The Abraxas, I can't remember pronounce it, Abraxas or something. But my Craig, Craig was the one that got me hooked up on that stuff.
Nice.
So, but yeah, that Les Paul, I've always wanted Les Paul, even from like the Randy Rhoads days, the John Sykes days,
Ace Frehley.
Ace Frehley. Thank you, Ben.
I got your back.
Aerosmith,
Yeah.
Even though he played the BC Riches, and I did have a BC Rich at the time, like the bitch, and
sure.
But yeah, awesome Gibson, and they had a really cool booth too at NAMM.
Yes, they do. Yeah. Yeah, I get it's kind of funny. It's like the Hatfields and McCoys, that whole floor, half is Fender, half is Gibson. And they're at opposite ends of the building with a big buffer zone in between.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy, man. I need to put this screen because I have 2 screens here and I need to put it right where the camera is. So I'm like looking right at the camera.
Metalworks says 76 Explorer, aka the coffee table. They're great.
Oh, I've always wanted to get the Explorer because I remember seeing the Edge play it in the early 80s. Was it it's Sunday Bloody Sunday, the live video.
Right.
When he was playing that guitar, I've always wanted that guitar, and I will get one. That's going to be up there with the Les Paul and with the Concorde, and
Sure.
Strat kind of thing.
Yep. I hear you on that.
Oh, I should be looking at. This is cool. Thank you all. Thank you for.
Boner James says, my Ibanez universe smells like strip clubs, vanilla, wonderland, and fear.
I need to get. Ben, I was thinking about getting like another Ibanez because I had the Roadstar series, the Strat style.
Right. And
that was my first guitar. Well, my first real guitar that my mom bought for me since I was going to get into playing guitar. And I went to the local music store and I saw the blue, the quilt blue. Right. And even to this day, I have a Jackson that has the same color. Matter of fact, the quilt blue.
Nice.
It was something about that Ibanez.
Hey, we got Aaron from Elvis Band joining us. Good to see you, man. Eddie Van Haskell.
Cool.
Awesome. Aaron still got the twins. I'll catch the replay. Just wanted to say hey to all. Well, say hey to the twins for me.
Cool.
Johnny Bean used to play a DiMarzio Explorer, but never had a case, so taking it to gigs was a pain.
Oh, was that the three pickup one? Johnny.
That would be cool. JJ's talking universes.
Yeah, thank you, JJ, about your son for the autograph thing. Was that like on a tour somewhere? Was that like in Texas?
I'm supposed to ask about your tunings. Boner James says, ask Sean about his tunings, and does he use different guitars for different tunings?
Yes, I do. For the record, I did it's D standard. I was gonna say drop D. It's D standard, but I did it in the 432 tuning, which was totally inspired by the whole Riot thing. Was all about 432. So but I wanted to play in D because I just like the way how it feels with the heavier gauge to 10 to 46 or 10 to 52s. And I have the other guitar that's tuned to B on B standard, which is for the Hour 11 stuff. And most of the heavier stuff, like I was all in the Corn, which they're in A on 7 strings, but the B was pretty close to that sound, you know. So the Hour 11 was mainly that, and that was a different guitar, which it used to be the EVHs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then just recently I tuned one of the Deans down, and the Dean handled it well, tuning it down to B, and I put 10 to 52s, I think, or 56, I think, on that, because I had the 52s on there, or was it the 46 on there at tune at B, and I was practicing and I was getting all into it, and every time I would go down, it would just bend way out of tune. So I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to go to a heavier gauge. Nice. And then I have one of the other guitars tuned to C sharp. Like if you listen to Hour 11, like the one that Phil Collins played on, Struggle,
okay,
and Get Up. That's at C sharp standard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Metalhead Hippie says, got a roll. Later, Ben. Later, Sean.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
And JJ says, hey, Sean, I saw Riot in Santa Ana at the Metal Fest. Had loads of full song footage I sent to Rob.
Oh. Really? That's cool. I forgot about that show. I think that was one of the first shows. Well, that was the show before we left. I'm sorry. I'm trying to think here. I think that was the show when we came back. And I think that was at the House of Metal. Cool.
Okay.
I would love if you could post that stuff on YouTube, you know, and I don't know what's going on with it. You know, Rob has so much stuff going on, and, you know, he's not really into the whole computer thing. So he may have somebody else, you know, doing it, and it's taking a bit. Cool.
Nice. And look, what's up, Doc's headed out as well. See you, man. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, take care.
We got 55 crazy people watching us here, which is awesome.
Right on. Thank you, guys. It really means a lot for you guys doing like this.
Love this. The Sunday night hang, just hanging out with friends, talking gear. Johnny says, my Explorer was a custom guitar that had a DiMarzio body and a Warmoth neck. It was actually pictured in a local shop, but was featured in Bass magazine in 1993. Bought it after I saw it in the mag.
Nice.
Very cool. Boney Jam. Sorry, another question for Sean. With your tunings and some inspirations, you said, thoughts on current bands like Mastodon, Gojira, and Slipknot? I can say Gojira, right?
Yeah. You know what, Jams? You just named 3 of one of my most favorite bands nowadays with the current style of music that's out now. Let me start with Slipknot. I remember seeing them back in the day. Didn't really understand it that much because I was more into Korn, and it's a lot slower. You know, it's just a whole different vibe. but the energy that I seen when they were playing the festivals, that blew me away too, of course. But I didn't really get into Slipknot till like maybe 8 years ago. Um, and Mick came to Jackson because Jackson was making his guitars. When he came into our little area, I started talking to him about things, and he's actually like our age. He came from like the '80s thing, and he's all in the roads and everything. So we talked about that forever, the whole time he was there, and I asked him to sign something for me for my son, and of course for myself, just to have something, uh, you know. So, but yeah, and I love the new drummer. I know people is flack about that, but I really love the way the new drummer is doing it with them. And Gajura, the guitar player has his own line of Jacksons. So I had the opportunity to set up his guitars, and they're like the Telly style.
Right.
So I loved his music. Actually, he was I was looking into his pickups before I got the bare knuckles to put into my Les Paul. But I didn't go that route. So and Mastodon, I love Mastodon. They're so clean, and they're so down to earth, and they're like my age, our age,
Right.
So it's I like all three of those bands.
Nice. Very cool. Let's see here. Oh, and JJ says, I thought I already sent it to you, but he's going to resend you those videos.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just send them away. I'll WeTransfer or however way that you want to send them. I'm not sure how big they are. Cool.
Yeah, now I'll get a text after this. Hey, how do I send these to Sean?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I gotta tell you a story about the Ibanez thing real quick. The Explorer. When I was over at Phil Collins' house, and we were talking, and he had a picture of him holding the black one that he had back in the day, the black Explorer or Destroyer or whatever it was called.
Right.
And I go, you know what? I would love to see that guitar someday, or even the one before or during the blue one or something. I don't know if it was blue, but yeah, it was at his cottage in London. I'm like,
wow,
bring it to Southern California so I can see that guitar.
Yeah, no
kidding. Because that was that whole Pyromania. That was the thing for me back in the day. Seeing him doing this, with that guitar in the video.
Mm-hmm. Was it an Ibanez or was that a Hamer that he had?
I think it was Ibanez.
I was thinking it was a Hamer Explorer for some reason.
Huh. Yeah.
Whatever they called their Explorer.
Yeah. Hamer had one too. Have to Google that.
Yes.
Just reading down here with you.
Half ace, you kids in your rock and roll.
What was that?
Half ace, you kids in your rock and roll.
Oh, if you guys have any questions about any blues, I was into Jimi Hendrix. I was into B.B. King, Keith Richards, Steve Stevens.
Okay, and Johnny just confirmed it was an Ibanez Destroyer.
Okay.
Thank you, Johnny.
Thanks, Johnny. On Stevie Ray Vaughan. Oh, that was the thing. The last tour when we had a couple days off, we went to go on Dimebags and Vinny's,
nice
thing, and then we went to Stevie Ray Vaughan's thing as well, and that was a really cool moment right there,
Nice. Aaron Cram says, will Ibanez ever reissue the Iceman in green like Jay from White Zombie used to play?
Oh, that would be so cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah. I was a huge White Zombie fan back in the early 90s, and still am. I'll pop into it.
Yeah, it was nice because not knowing until a little bit later that Rob Zombie was trying for years years to break.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he did break, the one thing that I kind of held against him, being vain as was, he totally copied Al Jorgensen's look with the hat and the dreads. And I was just like, this is just a Ministry ripoff. That's all I see here. But I loved it.
Yeah. I remember that whole, feud. Like who came up with the hat thing first, the whole dread thing first, and all that stuff. I remember that.
Right.
Yeah, I was into both of those guys, Ministry and them.
Yeah, I was like, I don't care. This is good industrial stuff. So.
Yeah, when I worked at Knott's Berry Farm for the Halloween Haunt thing, that they had a maze that was like a Mad Max type maze type of thing, and they use a lot of Rob Zombie or White Zombie and Ministry, and that was like the Ministry song, the like they had that like in the intro of the maze, and it would play nonstop from 7 p.m. till 3 a.m. And if you could imagine walking into that park at 3 a.m. and hearing that, it's kind of creepy because it's you know what I'm saying. So
I know what you're saying.
So
Half Ace says, I saw White Zombie and Danzig together. That was evil.
Yeah, I mean Danzig, oh my gosh. And of course White Zombie.
Exactly.
I had a funny thing about that. Going to a concert, I'm like, I would need to go to church next day. Seeing those bands. We had a little joke about that. Just One Fix, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Hey Amanda, you're back.
Welcome back, sis. Brian Landreth, good to see you, man.
Hi, Brian.
Says I'm late, but I made it.
Cool.
Jesus Built My Hot Rod, yes.
I love that song. That's
special guest vocals. Yeah.
Yeah, we used to like you roll down the windows going up to the mountain snowboarding, and that would be a song that we would crank heading up to the mountain because it's so powerful,
Oh yeah.
You get us all fired up.
That was one of the few times I bought the extended version on the EP.
Oh,
just
okay.
I didn't really care about extended versions of songs except for that one. I was just awesome because I had so much of the overdubs of all the drive-bys from drag racing and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh yeah, this is great.
I have to hear that again. It's been a long time. When I first heard about White Zombie and Ministry was I remember going to my friend Eddie's house. We were all into the RC model airplane thing, and he goes, "Okay, we could watch RC plane videos, or we could watch some videos on snowboarding." I'm like, let's check out the snowboarding videos. I never done that. The first thing that came on was White Zombie. I forgot what it's called. It was off the first album when it starts with the drums and it has the girl in the back.
Yeah.
What's it called? But anyways, that was my first introduction to White Zombie. Was from a snowboard video.
I think for me it was actually it was the music video for Thunder Kiss 65.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I was like, what do we have here? I'm like, this is a groove.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were all about that groove. Thunder Kiss 69. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
I remember we were going to cover Thunder Kiss at one time, because you think, oh yeah, it's pretty straightforward, just driving. No, there is so much shit going on in that. Forget about it.
You are absolutely right. See, you know what? Ben, so we have to, well, me personally, I have to keep in mind that when you hear something that sounds simple, it's never simple.
No.
Because the way how they think it out, and the way how they finger it and all that stuff. Because that's how it was with the Motley Crue song, on Too Fast. For 25 years, 28 years, dude, I was like, oh, I'll learn that. That's easy. I'll learn it. That's easy. finally, a month ago, I started learning. I'm like, wow. I mean, I was impressed, you know.
Hey, everyone say yes. Terry say yes, played on the old Much Music Metal Hour. Yes, the Pepsi Power Hour, which was on at Thursdays at 4 p.m. Every Thursday, you'd rush home from high school to watch the Pepsi Power Hour because that was the 1 hour of hard rock, and it was all the Sunset Strip stuff, and it was all great. And
that's cool.
And it was hosted by White House correspondent John Roberts. He was the host of that show back in the day.
Really?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, he used to have long hair, leather jacket, the whole shebang.
See, all these guys that are like in the house and all that stuff, they have to have came from our times. You know, they're just all cleaned up, you know, and
yes, he was, and he went by J.D. Roberts at the time, not John.
That sounds so familiar. Sorry, I have to turn on the air up here. I'm like burning up in here.
My sister's like, J.D. Roberts was hot. Can you compare? Hey, TWF 7847, Ted in the house. Cool. Can you compare any differences in the manufacturing process of the Pro Mod versus USA Charvel San Dimas guitars?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I played a lot of the Pro Mods, you know, just as for samples when I used to build the USA ones, and like those guys are pretty much in tune with the way how they build those Pro Mods. You know, they actually came to Corona to learn some of our little tricks, you know, and they would take it back to Japan or wherever that they're being made at. Either it's Mexico or Japan, I'm not sure. But then when you buy a USA, you know, the setup guys and the builders, painters, we put our heart and soul into it, and they take a little bit longer to build, and they do use different components on some, you know. So you know, I have to tell you this. I hope I don't get anyone mad over this, but I remember when I used to work on the Wolfgangs, and Eddie liked more of the tone of the fake Bridges, the fake Floyds, the Koreans, I guess. I'm not sure which one it was, but it wasn't the USA ones. And I could be wrong, but I remember this was in 2008, you know. So, and I could see the reason, you know. I mean, it's just some things, the way how it's made, it has just a better sound.
Sure.
You know.
Robot Master Switch says, I just bought a DoD Phaser 201. I blame you, thanks. Oh, and I will take full responsibility for that, Robot Master Switch, because you know I love my phasers.
I have one too, but you know it's downstairs. I don't think I have my bag up here. I was gonna grab it. Yeah, it's downstairs with my other stuff. But yeah, my friend sold me one at Fender for $80, and it was an old school 1982 phaser.
Nice.
Something like that. Old.
I think I've got, I don't know, 6 or 7 phasers kicking around here at the moment. I just collect those things. I just love because they're all a little different.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Oh, great. Now we got people looking up the Pepsi Power Hour on YouTube. Enjoy it, folks. A little trip down. Yeah, it's basically Headbanger's Ball, except a third of the videos at least are going to be Canadian.
That's cool.
Yeah. Just made a little extra honeymoon suite each week.
Janice, moving on.
See you, Janice. Robot Messer says, never tried one, but you made it look like a lot of fun. They are fun. Get your Pink Floyd on with them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's on the Riot song. I think it's on the title track on Riot. I do this crazy, like, you know, it's like a swishing sound. It's like complete, you know, spectrum of the whole, you know, swishiness. And that was a phaser, the old phaser on there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hit Metalworks says, yeah, Killer Dwarves as well. Yeah, they got a lot of airplay on the Pepsi Power Hour. And last night was the 5-year anniversary of the night I opened for the Killer Dwarves.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it came up in my Facebook memories yesterday. A picture of my band hanging out with their band.
That's awesome.
The photographer that was there snapped a photo of us. So, yeah, it was really cool because that one, I didn't hesitate for a second because I grew up a huge fan of the band. And his promoter contacted me as a rep for our band. He's like, hey, man, do you want to open for the Killer Dwarfs? I'm like, yep. Half the band hadn't even heard of the Killer Dwarfs. I'm like, I don't care. We're opening for these guys.
Wow, that's awesome, man. I know that had to been really like probably one of the best times of your life right there to be up there opening up for them.
Definitely, yeah, because we were direct support, and it was 2 of the original 4 were still in the band, which was nice. Drummer and singer. And I had known the bass player. I've been in the drummer's solo band already, and I'd met him previously, so that was cool. Yeah. And Jerry, their guitar player, he's played in a slew of top Canadian acts. Like just thinking back, I think he played with Sass Jordan in the 90s. He's Burton Cummings' guitar player currently, as well as doing the Killer Dwarves gig.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I have to look up that picture. That's so rad.
I can look it up for you here. Easy enough. Only because it was yesterday.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's how I felt about when we opened up. When Hour 11 opened up for Seven Dust. I'm a huge Seven Dust fan, and that was a great moment.
There we go. Here, I'll just put myself on solo.
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh,
if it focuses, there we are.
Oh yeah, that's so rad, dude.
Yeah, and the guy actually put both of our names when he tagged it and stuff. So
I see you right there, man.
Yep, rocking my Lemmy Burns stash at the time.
That's so rad. Cool.
My sister made another video show. Video Hits was the CBC's video show. Half-hour show. I think that might have been on daily too. It was like every day at 4 p.m. or something, or 3 p.m. or back when they showed music videos. Yeah. Music videos were so popular they would even show them on network TV.
Yeah, time has changed.
Yep.
Yes, Aaron. Yes, Seven Dust kicks ass, man. I burned them. I burned that their music in my brain from 2000, actually from 99 all the way up until now. And when we opened up for them in 2010, or was it 2011, it was a pretty big show. I think it was like maybe almost 1,000 people in the venue. And yeah, if you see any other pictures from Hour 11 with the camera towards the back of me, that was that show. And I think in the video I just posted, there's a Seven Dust gig in there. Nice. Yeah, I'm playing the Wolfgangs at that time.
Right. My cousin Doug says Toronto Rocks was daily on City TV. Yes, big Toronto TV station, and it was hosted by JD Roberts.
Wow.
Who needs MTV when you have YouTube? Exactly.
Yeah.
That's where everyone just releases their videos now, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And I like there's some cross promotion, like. What was it? Might even be a month ago now. I just happened to flip on YouTube here, and Gibson TV had the latest music video from Gilby Clarke.
Oh, really?
And it was great because I've always been a Gilby fan. I always liked his kind of dirty rock and roll style. Mm-hmm. And I was like, cool. And I wouldn't have known otherwise, but I happened to be subscribed to Gibson's YouTube channel. And apparently I wasn't subscribed to Gilby's. And so it was very cool.
That's right.
Ooh, here's a good one. What 2 songs do you wish you had written?
From which band? Or, I mean, just
I don't know. I guess in general.
In general?
What are the 2 most played songs of all time? Those are the 2 I'd like to have written.
Yeah. Probably Ozzy, one of Randy's songs on Dario of a Madman. And, wow. SATO. I mean, I can't think of any of your modern songs. I mean, I could probably, look at, Slipknot song, like Burden from the album before last. It's a very
Yeah, Boner James says in general. So yeah, I was thinking just the business side of me immediately. I was just like, yes, whatever the 2 most selling songs of all time were, I'll take those.
Yeah, Beat It. I wish I played the guitar solo and Beat It that Eddie played.
Yeah, exactly.
But then he didn't get paid on that. I don't know if he gets the royalties on that either. But so,
how about for writing? How about I wish I wrote Eruption, because then that means I could have played like that.
Yeah, yeah. Those are. But as far as the pop thing goes, man, Depeche Mode has a lot of them out there that I wish I wrote.
Nice. Ted says, "Cure Me or Kill Me" by Gilby Clarke. Thank you. Yes, great song. Brian Lidrith wishes you'd written Werewolves of London.
I like that.
And Boner James kicks in with Happy Birthday and Karma Police by Radiohead.
Oh, nice. Happy birthday.
Brian Landra says, I'm trying to get my metal happening. I'm playing my scalloped neck Strat through an amp tweaker type metal. I almost can get it going.
Nice.
I think you can, Brian, because he's a hell of a blues player. And I think it's just, you get that train, once it starts moving, look out.
Mm-hmm. I like what a Master Switch said about the Walk by Pantera and Sight to Behold.
Yep.
Like a juror. I learned a Cowboys from Hell song a couple years ago. That's a fun song to play.
Mm-hmm. My sister says Salisbury Hill.
How about the Metallica album, the Black album?
See, not a fan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys. Master of Puppets, that's the last one for me.
That's funny because when you were listening to Master of Puppets, I was listening to Poison. I was like, man, what is this? Master of Puppet. And my friend Chris was like, it's pretty awesome. Then I listened, I'm like, and this guy was down the street from my best friend's house, and he was blasting it through his speakers, the Master of Puppets in his garage.
Right.
And my buddy John was like, man, they're playing it so loud. I'm like, dude, that's some killer guitar right there. What are you talking about?
I remember the first Metallica album I bought was Kill 'Em All. And same thing, like I was listening to nothing but Crew, Poison, that stuff, just straight 4/4 high gain rock and roll. And the first time I put on Kill 'Em All, I thought there was something wrong with the cassette because I couldn't find the beat. I'm like, I don't get it. It's just a wall of noise. Like,
yeah.
I literally put this cassette aside for a couple of months. Somehow in between, I discovered the Ramones, which seemed to be that I needed that jumping spot. I needed to hear some Ramones, which was more upbeat. Now I can listen to Metallica and still be able to follow it.
Yeah.
Of course, it doesn't help that, that first track, Four Horsemen, they come in with a reverse fade and they're just already going at it.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah. Those guys were so hungry back then.
Yeah.
I could look back on that and I totally could see it. I could see what the hype was about too.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so raw, but still so good. Sort of like Motley Crue's first album.
Mm-hmm.
It's so raw sounding. It almost sounds like a punk record in as far as the actual production goes, but it's so good.
I love blasting that in my car. The way how it was mixed back then, dude. It just something
because it was mixed for car stereos.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's all kinds of guys talking about Over the Mountain and Diary of a Madman. I agree.
Yeah. Mr. Crowley.
Yes. Oh, that album.
6-string Stanger. I'm trying to think. I played with a band. We opened for them because they were out of town, band coming through. So we were doing a show in town here, opening for them. And for their encore, they played Mr. Crowley. And as soon as it started, I was like, okay. And they had a backing track for the keyboard parts. Right. And as soon as it started, I heard that opening chord and I went, you're kidding me. I'm like, and I'm looking at this 25-year-old guitar player.
Uh-huh.
And he was good, but I'm like, you're really going to attack that? And he played that song note for note.
Wow.
And I was blown away.
Yeah, when you see the young folks, the young kids play that stuff, you know, I mean, that's how I want to get my son to be like, is to play the old school stuff, you know.
And there are kids out there that know it because, like, say, you know, the kids of our generation. Mm-hmm. I remember seeing another young band play a couple of years ago, and I was like, this kid, not only was he playing a BC Rich Gunslinger, which I was like, okay, who under the age of 40 even knows that guitar? But he had this Mick Mars feel to him. Like, it wasn't his tone, it was just something in his playing. I just sensed Mick Mars, and when they finished their set, and I'm like, so you're a Motley Crue fan, eh? He's like, how did you know? Because they didn't sound anything like Motley Crue. I said, I could hear it in your playing, and, you know, playing that Gunslinger, you're a Mick Mars fan, I bet. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I knew it. And he was early 20s.
Wow. You know, I think from my experiences as playing guitar, I think when you're playing like in your 20s like that, that's the time when you're being molded as a player. I mean, at that age, you know, because I remember when I was 20, I was all in the Randy Rhoads and the drummer that we started playing in bands together, you know, later when he came to go see the show I was playing in, he walks up to me, he goes, you are in the Randy Rhoads, aren't you? I'm like, I love Randy Rhoads. And he goes, I can see it. And, you know, if you're into a certain style or a certain guitarist, you know, it's going to bleed into you, whether it's Randy or it's Keith Richards or whoever, you know.
Yeah.
And it's awesome to see kids doing that. I mean, I love YouTube for that, you know.
Yeah.
There and
yeah. Whereas when I got back into playing, it was a bunch of young guys that all played gent, and then us. That was more like Godsmack.
Yeah.
The gent, I don't get it.
Yeah.
You know, like it's rhythm to the extreme, essentially. You know, and syncopation, a lot of syncopation.
Yeah. Which killed a lot of the guitar solos.
It did. Yeah. Don't need a solo. You just play that seventh string. What? There's six. You have a seven string guitar, and you don't even use the six that I use.
Well, your sister was awesome. She was like, all this metal.
Oh yeah, the metalheads are loving it tonight.
Yeah, throw out the pop stuff. I mean, I love some Madonna. You know, there's some great players in that. You know.
I bet Tom, I like that. He says, when I was a little kid, I thought Rocky Road ice cream was named after Randy Rhoads. It should be.
Yes, and that's why it tastes so good in a cone.
That's right.
Especially when it has like a lot of nuts in it. That's the best.
Mm-hmm. Brian Lanter says Chuck Berry made the biggest impression on me. I bet you Chuck Berry's made the biggest impression on a lot of us because he's inspired so many players that inspired us.
Yes, can you imagine being like in his shoes, you know? I mean,
there's no hiding. You're playing a clean amp at stage volume.
Dude, you nailed it, brother.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. And he's playing a hollow body or a semi-hollow body most of the time too. So if it did get gainy at all, then you're dealing with feedback and look out.
He was digging in those strings for it to happen, you know?
Yep. Crazy. And he never even had a band. He would just have like show up at a venue and the venue supplied the band and you never got to practice with the guy. So he'd just go 1, 2, 3 and you were going and you just hope you chose the right key. And
that's some serious anxiety and stress right there.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that. Nope.
No, I have to be at least rehearsed, you know.
Yeah.
That actually reminds me of back in the early, the late 80s, I was called to play bass which is easier than playing guitar, but still being called to play bass at 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning and learning 8 songs and then going to Hollywood to play at a club playing bass, that was a high stress thing, but I got through it, got some great pictures from it. So, it was,
the last gig I played, I got the phone call at 4:30 in the afternoon to play that night, 2 sets playing bass.
Wow.
And he's like, "Do you want a copy of the set list?" I said, "Does it make a difference?" Like, we're not practicing or anything. I'm just showing up. Mm-hmm. I'll just have an idea of what to expect, but
right.
I said, I'm good. We'll just show up and wing it. I said, as long as I can see your left hand, we're good. It's cover tunes, bar rock, so why not?
Oh, okay.
And especially when he said, the pay is this. And I said, well, that's for the band per set. He goes, no, that's your cut per set. I went, oh, I will be there.
Yes. I'll be in the car listening to it. I'll be like all over the place listening to it.
Exactly. Ike says, Chuck was an incredible songwriter, though. Killer stories. Yes.
Yeah. I love the movie with the documentary with Keith Richards. That was real, dude. That is so real.
Yeah.
Poor Keith, man. That was a lot of pressure.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Oh, thank you, Amanda. Thank you for that. Bless you. Thank you.
Well said, Amanda. Very well said. Nice.
We're
already coming up on. Oh, we've done 80 minutes already. Wow. Ted says, I live in Corona and was just wondering if Fender Corona is up and running at full capacity now.
From my resources, they are running. I think they're running at maybe 70% now, but he says it's kind of weird, and there are still people that are still on the furlough thing, and they actually laid off a lot of people a couple weeks ago. Key people too, people that I've known that worked there for over 20 years. So, but as far as it running, of course they got to make money, so they're probably at 70%. I'm not sure. They could be at 100% now, because there's a lot of businesses opening up out here.
Right. Here's a good one. Robot Master Sean could ask Sean if he's heard of Ernie C., legendary OG California guitar player, lead guitarist of Body Count.
Of course.
Now I know I ran into you outside of the Body Count show last year. Now, did you make it into that show?
Yes, actually, that's a funny story. On the drummer at the time for Hour 11, he was like the tech for Will that plays drums for Body Count. Okay, so he was able to get in for free. He actually got in, backstage and was back there teching, for Will, because Will didn't have anyone teching from it at that time. So they were trying to work it out to get me and Gerd and one of our other friends from Fender, in there. And I think that's when you walked up and you totally surprised me, Ben. I was so happy to see you, dude.
You walked up to me. JJ and me were in line.
Was it?
Yeah, we were already in line. You came walking up because you were headed to the back of the line, I guess. And we saw each other in line. And you made a joke, which was hilarious, because you're like, Ben, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you get like the VIP treatment? And you made some joke like that. Well, then you walk away, and then everyone's turning around looking at JJ, Dana, and me. They're like, well, who the hell's this guy? And I'm like, hello.
That's funny.
But then you got a lot of, hey, you want some? I'm like, yeah, okay, thanks.
Yeah,
I was lit by the time we even got in there.
yeah, that's funny. That's right. Man, that was such a blur.
Tell me about it. We got to bed at 5 a.m. that night. That was a blur.
Yeah, it's funny because when after that we saw each other, I was talking to Joseph. He was texting, and he ran back and see us and stuff. But so we finally got in, and then I went to Ernie's page, like on Facebook. I sent him a quick message. I go, man, Ernie, Joseph was trying to get to talk to someone, just to get us in and stuff. He was like, oh my gosh, I should have gave you my number. I could have gotten you guys in, no problem. He goes, next time. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yes, JJ. And then they confiscated my wallet chain at security getting into that party.
I hate when they do that crap. But
yeah.
I did have an opportunity to play with Body Count in the late 90s. It was right when the other guitar player he was dying from cancer, about to pass away. And at that time, I was playing guitar in this band, this sci-fi goth band, and our manager knew Ice-T because he used to build like his custom cars, and Ice bought like one of his cars. So when my friend Rob went up there to go meet up with Ice, and Ice took him back in the studio, and then he goes, "Oh yeah, my friend Sean, he plays in this goth metal band," and Ice is like, "Yeah, if you want to come up and track up here at the house, and then we could exchange the time," because my friend Rob was telling Ice that I write my music on the side with my computer and stuff, and Ice had his cousin that was doing his own thing, and he needed like a writer to help write his album. So that's how I met Ice and that whole thing, and then Rob was telling me that they're looking for like another guitarist, and I dropped the ball because I was thinking that band at the time was going to do something, and I just got married, and I just can't. I mean, that's hardcore. I would have to just drop everything,
right?
And I couldn't do that. So and so that was the first time. The second time was Will was asking me if I wanted to try out for Body Count before they got one in the band, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. And I was playing with R11 at the time because he asked me would I be cool to play in two bands, and I'm like, yeah, I could do that, but let me talk to the guys. And I dropped the ball again, and plus my ex was pregnant with my son, so I had to think about all that,
Right.
So, so last NAMM, or was the time when I saw Gerd, and he let me know. He was like, man, you should have went for it, So, but yep, I know Ernie. Ernie's awesome. He's an amazing guitar player.
Nice. Very cool. Well, we did an hour and a half set here. Not too shabby.
Cool.
Do you have anything to add, my good friend? This has been a blast.
Yes. Thank you, Ben. I really enjoyed doing this with you, and I wanted to, do like a quick shout out, to Soli Guitars, and I'm hoping that someday I could be like an official thing to play his guitars. I want to thank Chris Cannella from Dean Guitars. He's really helped me a lot, whether it's through Jackson or through Dean, and I love those guitars. I'll be playing those guitars forever, and they'll get passed down to my son, So I want to thank him, and the Dr. Jekyll Cabs, and everybody, Susan, you guys.
Lovely, Susan.
It's cool, and thank you for all your support, and you guys subscribing, all and stuff. So
yeah, it looks like a few people have started following your channel tonight, which is awesome. And awesome. I just flashed up the channel sponsors there, so there we are. We took care of that. And I want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight. Definitely, it's always a pleasure hanging, Sean. It was great, running into you at the basement of at NAMM, and we had drinks in hand, so we're like, hey, we're having a drink together. This is awesome. This is great.
That was such great timing. That was the most, because I was hoping to run into you somewhere up there, and there's a bunch of friends that I wanted to run into that were in town from far away, and it's amazing how those things happen.
Yeah, I was hanging out with Rob from Tesi Switch.
Cool. I have to check that out.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, if you just want to hold the line here, I want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight. New people, thank you for tuning in, and I hope you subscribed. Hey, Crowbar jumping in right at the end here. Thanks all the return people. Thank you, everyone that donated to the channel tonight. Much love. And I will be back tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific with Canucks with Guitars, live Q&A. And I'll be doing some jams as well. Dang, boner jams at the end here. Hopefully COVID will be over soon and we can all meet at NAMM to share guitar stories.
Yes.
Well said. I fully agree. I do appreciate that. Yes. And until next time, folks, as always, hold those doors open. Let that guy in ahead of you in traffic. Do good things and good things will happen to you. Karma is real. I'm living the dream. Sean's living the dream. Be good to each other, folks. Karma is, in fact, real. And, just be good to each other. Cheers. Yeah.